You remember that. Chafetz Chaim writes how it means blessing for your family. You know what I mean? So it's
No, we gotta get up time for Shabbat.
I hear you.
Just,
I hear you. Maybe
that one is he's the chief officer of the breakfast. Yeah.
okay. It's a little distance for me to walk from all the way downtown to 63rd. Probably an hour and a half, an hour or something walk, probably.
Should we hang out with Yaron? You won't even feel the walking.
Yes, but we had a few since COVID. Yes,
Really?
yes. Yeah. Okay. Good morning, everybody. We're on Nun Gimel and Aleph. Okay, we're on already, Akiva?
No, I just give it warning. Don't do that to us. So you people start, getting ready.
Okay, we're on Nun Gimel and Aleph, 53a. Exactly where we left off on Friday. Omer Rav Huna. B'samim shel beis hakisei. I mean, the last law was that it says you don't say bracha on the fire or the b'samim that is used for dead bodies, right? We said since they're used for dead bodies, they're not used for the purpose of
Fighting? That's what I thought about the stove.
yes.
He said he thinks that you can't. He said like because you could do it on like a light that has a certain type of like fire in it, something like a certain light, and therefore like he said he assumed that.
He would assume that's all right. That's how we work. We thought it should work, right?
Yeah.
Forgot to ask Rabbi Feinstein's son-in-law. Thank you for mine. But Rabbi Feinstein said that's very good. That should be if you're turning on the fire, the stove for the purpose of to get light for Saturday night for the candle, right?
Yeah.
You're doing not a light that you had on the whole Shabbat that was lit not for that purpose. Right, Nathan?
Yeah.
The difference between a light, if you had it on the whole Shabbat and now you want to go over to it and say the bracha on it, that's a no-no because that was not lit for the purpose of light, for a purpose of cooking. But if it was for warming up or keeping foods hot, but if after Shabbat you turn on the stove and the fire goes on, it should be good. That's that what we're saying? Just want to clarify the point.
Are we on the page?
Yeah, we are now Nun Gimel Amud Aleph. Now we're up to Amar Rav Huna. First word of line is alav. I'll show you with the my finger right over here. You see over here? What'd you say? Look over here.
Oh,
First word of line alav. I'm going to samim shel beis hakisei. You have here or not?
The second.
Look what's here.
Now we can start.
Okay.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Whole class bonded on Shabbat. You should know from you.
Yeah.
Everybody knows on that.
Okay. Beautiful.
Daniel was in Shabbat.
Oh, very good. Amar Rav Huna. Morris on Nun Gimel Amud Aleph. 53a. Amar Rav Huna. B'samim shel beis hakisei. The first word line is shell. It's about 12, 13 lines from the bottom of the page. B'samim, spices that they put by the bathroom. They put some nice smelling spices by the bathroom. That psamim is not made for the purpose of smelling the psamim, smelling the spices. That psamim is made to take away a bad odor.
Incense.
Right? So if it's made for some other purpose, just to neutralize the bad odor by putting the spices, that spice is not something that you would say bracha on. But let's say it's right out. Let's say it's right outside. Let's say it's right by the bathroom, and you smell it outside the bathroom somehow. Let's say it's a nice smell. They put a nice, they used to, they put, let's say somebody, they put a bar in the bathroom. Certain things.
If you're in a hotel room, I like this. The lobby smells. You walk in and say,
Now we have.
Right, yeah, but that's for the purpose of smell.
Correct.
Right. Good morning, morning. Boker Tov. That's for the purpose of no class, exactly. Monday through Friday, yes. 6:45, 7:30, it's only a minute, exactly. Not disturbing. Correct.
Rabbi,
Yes.
what are you, sorry, no question, but
There's no such thing as a dumb question.
what are you, you're allowed to use any stripes for Havdalah?
Pretty much anything that has that gives a nice smell. I mean, we know we could use things that grow from the hard stuff that grow from the ground. Let's say hadassin. We use hadassin. We use mint leaves. Right. Cinnamon you could use. What is common? You could use perfume.
Yeah.
People use perfume.
Yeah.
There are some people that use perfume.
But I mean, like,
But you have to have it.
that's like artificial, like, no?
But it has a nice smell. And the synagogue, they give up that liquid.
Because, I mean,
There's many different some. There's a lot of Ashkenazim use cloves. We rose water. That's what they're using, right? Yeah. So So as long as the samim, there is the ikar. That means the spice is there. It's not like you just have a smell. See, if you have just a smell, Morris, a nice smell, but there's no, there's a smell, but the thing itself is not there. Let's say you have samim. The spice gave a smell into something, but now the spice is not in front of you. It just
Let's say I spray cologne at home. I mean, true.
right. So that if that cologne is already dissipated, right? So if the cologne is dissipated, if the cologne is not there, if you can't see the cologne. So if Farmer, I think, touched on it. If the cologne is not there, because it already became. All right. So if it's already dissipated, that means you don't see it anymore. He was trying to talk about situation. What could you do to make sure that the item is still that the spice is still there? I mean, if something is if it's, let's say you spray something on your hand and now it's absorbed in your hand and it's no more right. Yeah, but keep the key right. See the liquid. You want to have the mamash. You want to have the right. You want to have the actual. What'd you say?
When the kids come around, they be like that.
Very good. If you pour a decent amount, therefore you call mamashot. You feel it; it's there. But that's what you're supposed to say bracha on something. So pretty much, so many things you could say bracha. I once asked Rabbi Feinstein. I was talking to Rabbi David Feinstein about this, and he once said that his father, Rabbi Moshe Feinstein, felt that many of the spices don't have a real smell. Meaning sometimes they give you, at least by the Ashkenazim, sometimes the cloves. We use a lot of these cloves, these cloves, and sometimes they have a smell, sometimes you can't really smell it. And he said Moshe sometimes wasn't happy when he used some of those things when he didn't really have when he didn't really smell it.
A good smell or a strong smell? A lot of times these spices have more like strong smell more than like, oh, that's beautiful.
Right. I would think it should have some. You're saying a bracha, you're recognizing that something that there's a smell of something of it has a smell, and it's because the point of the samim is to say a bracha, you're having benefit. If you have a smell of something that has a real bad smell, then you really didn't have benefit. You really the same way Gemara says you're not allowed to have benefit from food without saying a blessing. So you can't have that drink unless you said a blessing. So too, you can't have a benefit of a smell of a cinnamon or of a cloves without saying a blessing. But if the smell is really bad, you didn't really have benefits. Therefore, I would say use something Saturday night that you enjoy.
But when you can't have a benefit without saying Beracha.
Meaning to say,
Cologne, like that?
no, okay, it's a good it's a good question. People, I don't think people are making brachos all the
No.
time.
Should
Cologne.
you hear it twice or what?
What did you say?
We're in shul. Should you hear Rabbi say and then go home? Or could you go home, say to your wife, and that's, I don't know.
Right. So, right. Great question. If Baruch Hashem, you're married, and your wife needs to hear Havdalah from you, so because of that, so when they say Havdalah in the synagogue, you being that you need to say Havdalah for your wife, you have in mind not to fulfill your mitzvah of Havdalah in the synagogue.
Leave early, so sleep.
You can technically leave. Exactly. You technically now.
I'm saying that.
But
No, I know.
but on the other hand, sometimes if you stay, then after you stay, you go. But after you say goodbye to the wish the rabbi a good week, wish other people a good week. So by staying, you get other things on the deal. But technically, since you plan on going home and saying Havdalah for your wife, so therefore you do not need to technically stay in the synagogue for Havdalah. The longer you stay in synagogue, you stay in a holy place, it's always great. It's nice to stay long in the synagogue, but you don't need to stay technically
Is someone
for.
else the mitzvah hearing the law on the phone?
So Rav Moshe Feinstein discusses that. It's not ideal. I mean, really, you're supposed to really say Havdalah in person, ideally. But let's say if there's a situation that the person can't hear Havdalah,
Yeah,
or
then after
if the person would not be able to hear Havdalah, so then it's better over the phone than nothing. But it's not the ideal is to try to work it out. They should be able to hear the person should be able to hear Havdalah live. Yes, yes, it's recorded. Yes, thank you. So, but Morris, I don't want to be the man who has, because of me, now you leave shul a few minutes early. Because the holiness, every moment you stay in a synagogue, every moment you're in a holy place. So even though you don't need to do that for Havdalah, because you're going to say Havdalah for your wife, but you're still in a holy place.
So, the wife, the left side home. You need a shalom by holy place calculator.
Right. You have to know if your wife's really waiting for you, and she really wants you to be home right away. And instead of being home right away, you're hanging out, you're staying longer in shul. So then maybe it'll be more appropriate to say I should go home. But let's say your wife is in good company with her mother or whatever, or your mother, and she's not in any rush. Say, what?
If you rush.
They're not gonna be but if they're not in a rush, so then you stay in. I think the longer you stay in a holy place is always a very good thing. And you wish people. I think it's also a nice thing. You have time to wish people a good week and all that and so on and so forth. Okay. But the guy who's single, who's not going home to say Havdalah, hear Havdalah, then he needs to stay in the synagogue and so on. But Marsh, just also to address your saying, let's say guys in synagogue and they gave out, let's say he's going to say Havdalah in the house for his wife, right? Mm-hmm. But they gave out the hadassim throughout the synagogue, and now you're happy to stay for Havdalah, but you don't plan on having a mitzvah of Havdalah. See, let me explain that. There was the Shulchan Aruch. He says the first opinion says that women are obligated in Havdalah. That's the first opinion. The second opinion in Shulchan Aruch is some say women are not obligated in Havdalah. Right. Some say because of it's time bound. Some say women are exempt from Havdalah. Even though Shabbat is also time bound, Kiddush is time bound, and women are obligated in Kiddush. But there's a question whether women are obligated in Havdalah. But the main opinion is that women are obligated in Havdalah. But because there's an opinion that says women are not obligated in Havdalah, so if you listen in synagogue and have a mind to fulfill your mitzvah, so then according to the second opinion, you cannot say for your wife because you're ready for. She should say, but you already fulfilled the mitzvah and she's not obligated. If she would be obligated, let's say Kiddush. If you heard Kiddush and you were Yotze Kiddush, you could say Kiddush 100 times for your wife. Your wife's obligated to Kiddush. A guest comes to your house. You said Kiddush already, a guest comes to your house. You can say Kiddush again.
Yeah, no problem.
No problem. Because you have a mitzvah of responsibility for every Jew. And therefore, if they have an obligation of Kiddush, and they didn't hear Kiddush yet, they come in, you say Kiddush for them. You could offer them to say the Kiddush.
Does it matter? Okay. Oh, I said, so now you say it like.
When I learned that with you,
What's that?
when I learned that with you, I do like 5 times.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you're responsible. We're all responsible for each other, and therefore you're covering that person. He has a responsibility, or she has a responsibility, and you're saying for them. But if that person does not have a responsibility, then you can't say it for them. That's the thing.
On Shura, since you have to make 100 brachas, so it doesn't help to do as many.
Right, that would help them. What about the other guy? The other guy also needs to make his 100 brachot on Shabbat. Right, but you're right. It helps. Okay, let's continue in the Gemara. So the Gemara says, Omar Huna, b'samim shel beis hakisei. Let's say there's spices by the bathroom, and let's say to address your question, somehow you close the bathroom door. It's right outside the bathroom door. You close the bathroom door. Still, you can't say the bracha on the spices. What I just wanted to get to the before. If let's say you're in the synagogue and you're going to plan on saying Havdalah in your house, and they give out the hadassim, and you say, and let's say on you, if you smell those hadassim in the synagogue, you would need to say a bracha on it, because you can't benefit from the hadassim without saying a bracha. It's a fascinating thing. If I want to smell a dasim, and then I can make another bracha in my house on that dasim. If I want to, because it's not. If you said a bracha here, and I say a bracha now, 20 minutes later, that bracha here doesn't cover me over there. Am I being clear?
Are we implying that you have to say bracha on it every time you smell?
Yes. If you smell and you do not make it, meaning if I make a smell the hadassim, and then I interrupt from the smell. I go out, I go back, go home. Minutes, it's a new smelling. If I'm in the synagogue and I want to smell, if I'm in my house and I smell hadassim and I want to smell it again every few minutes, I'm in the same place. I didn't make any interruption.
No, the first place you have to make bracha on it.
If I want to, anytime I want to smell something that's made to give a smell, and I'm smelling it for the purpose of smelling, to enjoy it, I would have to say a bracha. That means if somebody comes over to me right now and he wants to give me a hadassim to smell, right now, it's not Saturday night. Saturday night, I'm obligated to make sure to have samim. I'm obligated to bring myself into that bracha. I'm obligated to get some on the table. I need to have some. I gotta get some Saturday night. But today, Monday morning, someone brings me some samim right now. I would say a bracha. If I want to smell, I should say bracha. How do you like that? Talk to our good friend Daniel of Shalom. He'll tell you about he's I think he said some people he's very concerned with, like I think you said about getting the 100 brachot. So people maybe every day might smell something. People take a shot of whiskey every day and they want to have a good shot of whiskey. Shakol. Some people go ahead and have samim every day because they want to have for the brachot. And he used to give it out to the people in the class, just in a regular, ordinary day, like today, just to give the people the bracha. Daniel, he'll tell him he got special mention today. Because you're benefiting from the smell. You have to say the bracha. Okay. Now, the samim shall basically say the samim of the bathroom, or shemen ha'asul lahavi azdoma, or at the end of the meal, they would bring oil to clean your hands from the dirt of the food. They would give you some oil, and that oil had a nice smell. But the point of the oil was the smell was not to go ahead for the purpose of smelling. You want to smell the smell. The point was they wanted you to just more for the purpose of cleaning your hand. So then, those items that are brought to give a smell to take away the bad odor of the bathroom, or or to get rid of that, maybe that bad odor of the dirt. Your hands were dirty, and now because of the meal had a bad smell. Now you go ahead and you put oil on your hands. So it's not, the point was not for the purpose of smelling. It was to smell. It was to take away that bad odor that you had during the meal. So what they say over here. Okay, so that's what the Gemara says. You do not say a bracha on those spices because they're coming for a different purpose. They're not coming just to smell. It's coming to take away a bad smell. It's not just coming for the purpose of for the smell itself. It has some other purpose. Okay, so the Gemara says, "Lemeimra." Does it mean to say the kol hecha, the lav the recha avida? When it's not made for the smell, it's just made to take away something else. Lo mevarchan alav. You're telling me you don't say a bracha on a smell, even though it's a good smell. But if the smell is not made for the purpose of smelling, if its purpose of the smell from some other purpose to neutralize a bad smell, so it's not made just to knock out that, but not for the purpose of I want to smell this, I want to get rid of that. So therefore, you don't say a bracha. So the Gemara says, I have a question. You go into a spice store. I've gone into near Baruch College. There's an Indian spice store that sells water. So we have pizza for the guys, but I need a bottle of water. So I come in to buy a bottle of water, and wow, you come in, you smell the stuff. They have a lot of those stores.
Curry Hill.
Yeah. So, and they offer me. They want to sell me some of the stuff over there. They don't want me just buy water. They want me to buy some of the spice store. They have to sell water. So when I walk into that store, those spices are not there those spices is for sale purposes. I'm smelling the spice, but it's not there for the purpose of smelling and enjoying the smell. Those spices are there for the purpose of what? They want to sell it. And now the question is, can I say a bracha? Do I say a bracha on such? So based on the logic of the Gemara before, it would seem I should not be able to say a bracha on it because that smell wasn't there for smell.
Because it was dirty and you want to clean your hands. Not the same. He's clean, you're just walking, it smells beautiful. He's the bathroom, so it's not nice. You can do bracha over there. It's not the same case.
Okay, but the question is that let's say that
if you're gonna buy it, you say bracha because
if I buy it, I say bracha on it. Right.
The same like wording like you said, the case with the flame.
Right. The flame.
You would say that it's not for the purpose of smelling good, and it's for the purpose of sale. Then you should not say bracha.
Right. That's right. So let's address Aaron's question. There's a mate. There's a dead body. I put up a fire just in honor of the mate. It's a nice fire. But I don't say a bracha because it's coming for some other purpose. So it's true, like you said, that the samim here is not coming to neutralize something else. But if it's coming for some other purpose, for sale, I want to sell the spices. The spices aren't there for the purpose for me to smell the spices. I'm smelling the spice, but it's not there for that purpose. It's there for some other purpose. That's what the Gemara is going to ask. But the Gemara is going to answer, Aaron, that the spices are also there for smelling. You know why? Because they want the customer to smell the spice. So therefore, in order to buy it. Therefore, what you're saying would be correct. Therefore, the Gemara is going to say that it's also there for the smelling purpose to enjoy the fragrance. Look what the Gemara says. The Gemara says, the Meimra, the Kol Heicha, the Lav Meitive Hanichnas Lachanudo Shabasem. If you go into the store of a man who sells spices, Vehiriach Reach, and you smell the spice of the psamim, like I do when I go into that store. Afilu Yashav Sham Kol Hayom Kulo. Even if you're there the whole day, I go into the store and I spend the whole day in the store. I only say the bracha once. because if I stay in the store the whole day, I never made an interruption in the. It's like you say a bracha once. If even though maybe I smelt it now and I smelled a few minutes later, but since I'm in the same place, I didn't interrupt. That one bracha, the smell will cover me. Like I think of Vadi Yosef has a discussion Shavuot night when people stay up the whole night to learn Torah, right? If you're sitting at this table the whole night and you said a shahakol on the drink, and the whole night you're drinking now, and I know I'm going to drink 15 minutes later, 20 minutes later, and I never lost focus from drinking. Every 15 minutes I have to say a bracha. So he says no, because I didn't go to another place and interrupt. I went to a different makom. I'm here in the synagogue. I'm staying in the Beit Knesset, in the Beit Midrash. I'm not leaving, and I have in mind to drink the whole night. So technically, we have to see the tshuva and the chag. That one bracha should cover me for the whole night until I'm finished drinking, and I don't plan on drinking anymore. But if I plan to keep on drinking, so it would seem that if you're in the store and you're in the whole day, I never lost focus. The same way you have a big meal. Let's say you go to a wedding. A wedding, how many hours is a wedding? It could be a 5-hour wedding. And when you drink, when you're eating, and you didn't wash on bread, and you just keep on and you're in the same place and just plan on eating. I never lost focus. So that bracha is continuous. So that's the same thing in the store. I come into the store. If I'm sitting there the whole day, one bracha would be sufficient. But nichnas v'yotza. But if I come in and I come out and I come in and come out, if I came into the store, I said a bracha, but now I finished with the spice. I left. My mind was not focused on the spices anymore because I left. I'm not there anymore. Then I come back in, then I have to say a new bracha.
Or you say like if I'm in my office and like I know that I'm gonna have enough cups of coffee on the desk all day.
Right, but I think you have presumed there's a time that you feel like I'm finished drinking. You know what I'm saying? I'm not thinking about the next drink. It's what do you say, Mark? But I usually, you see, I think people, maybe the night of Shavuot, you're thinking about drinking because you want to keep up, you want to keep this. But I would think in the office, a lot of times I finished the drink. I'm not thinking about the drink anymore. It's not like, there's like some people are just constantly drinking. They have that drink in front of them, that water bottle in front of them that they're constantly drinking. Maybe if I keep my water bottle in front of me but the coffee it's a new cup of coffee. It's not that same big bottle of coffee. It's another cup of coffee, and I would think people are just being. It's a long day. People are just. I finished my coffee. I'm finished, and therefore I would.
Also, you're like rolling another one.
Right, so if I want to have 2 coffees now. You know what I'm saying? So if I'll say one bracha on the first coffee, I'm not going to make a second bracha on the second coffee. Because I knew but I'm not thinking it. But when I have my first coffee, the next coffee is another hour. I'm not thinking about the other coffee. If I'm thinking about the other coffee already, then I should not need to make a new bracha. But I would think that most of the time you have your coffee and I have another coffee for 2 hours. You're not thinking about the coffee. It's like I'm finished drinking. I'm not thinking. That's what I would think. But it's a good question. If a guy would be sitting by his desk and stay stationary the whole one spot, and but the question is, when you finish drinking, are you thinking about drinking again, or you're really like not thinking about it?
So like he's drinking about it, you're done, and you like
You're like you finished. I finished drinking, right? If you're constantly thinking about continuously drinking,
but that's not how I want to drink coffee. No. Like he's drinking his coffee, right? That's okay. But I'm drinking coffee from this, right? Maybe I will go and get. It's not finished. I will add more to it.
Right. So maybe as long as it's like his kavanah is like he's still in the middle, of it because he plans on finishing this. But every time you brew a new cup, between cup number 1 and cup number 2, I would think you lost focus already on it. That's what I would think. Okay. But we have to maybe remind me if I'll take out the Vat Yosef, how he writes it regarding Shavuot. Okay. So now, even this, by the way, I think that if, let's say I go into the store and I plan on coming, I'm thinking about coming, I say the bracha borim samim, and I go out, but I plan on coming right back. Then I would not, then those will say, I will not say a new bracha on the samim, but I just said the bracha. I stepped out, but when I stepped out, my mindset was I'm coming right back. So the mindset is I'm still thinking about coming right back, and some will say I don't need that. Going out might not be an interruption. I plan on coming. A lot of times it is when you leave a place, if you have a drink of water, leaving the place creates a new interruption.
No, because when you come in, you have a new hour.
Right, but every time. Right, but the fact that I plan on coming right back might not be considered an interruption enough to be considered that I need to say the bracha. But we do find.
So what did you do about it? You want to find out?
Every spice.
But really, if I'm going to the stuff, I can say one bracha on all the spices. Even like Nathan says, there's certain spices that you're supposed to say the bracha. Bore is samim. Some right. Sometimes you say bracha atzei samim. Sometimes you say mine samim. So. If you have many different spices that from all different types, you say one bracha, that will cover all those different types of spices. That's what I would think. At least Ashkenazim, that's what they would do. But that's a good question. Also, some people would say specific nusach of a bracha, and if I have two different types, should I just say one asay on this and ispe on that? That we'll have to see. Okay, so the Gemara says, Nichnas v'yotza, mevorech akol pam v'pam. If you go in and you leave, and you go in and leave, you say a bracha each time you go, you come back. Because the Gemara says if I left, that's considered an interruption. Like you said, it's a new hana, like Yaron said. I left, I didn't have benefit. Now I interrupted, and now I come back and I have new benefit. Now, the Gemara says, the spice is only made for selling purposes, and yet if I go into the store, the spice store, and the spices are there for sale purposes, I still need to go ahead and say a bracha, even though it's made for some other purpose. That was the Gemara's question. The Gemara's answer is no. Even though it's there for sale, but it's also there for you to smell, so you want to buy from it. So therefore, it's not just for some other purpose. It's for the purpose of smelling as well. But in it's also made for the purpose of smell. They want the guys in the Indian store want me to smell those spices. The spices in the store, they're not just there for sale purposes. They're there for what? For smelling purposes. The nisa v'nizim that I should buy from it. Let's say you have a warehouse. And the warehouse well, let's say it's a store that's not, what's that?
We have perfume stores where they purposely put it on so much so like you smell them so they buy them.
Right. So let's say you have a store that says, let's say you have a store and you're the wholesaler and you're not selling to anybody off the street. And you have all these spices in the store. So since you have all these spices in the store, and the spices are not there for the purpose of customers coming into the store, and we ship the spices out, and we have all the spices, and we're shipping the spices out, and we have all these containers, and we're making the spices. Then I will not be able to point to the Gemara. I should not say, and I walk into that every day. I walk into that shipping store that I do not say the bracha. Even though those spices smell, but those spices that are there that I'm coming into the room, they're not there for smell purposes. They're only there because they want to ship them out. They're there for sale purposes. They're not there for any customers coming in. I will not say the bracha. But the ordinary situation of a store of spices, they want the customer to come into the store and therefore and to enjoy the smell. And therefore you would go ahead and say bracha. That would be the difference. It's coming for some other purpose. Tana Rabbana. Now listen to this case. Okay. We're about 8 lines from the bottom. Tana Rabbana. First line is Minei. You were going outside the and I smell the smell. A nice smell. Now the question is, did it come from a Jewish family that they had some nice spices, or did it come from a non-Jew? The non-Jew, the concern is maybe the smell was used for avodah zarah. So imrov over the kachavim, if the majority of the people are not Jewish, now you're outside the city. Because you're outside the city, you can't figure out, the city's closed, the gates are closed, I can't get into the city, or whatever it is, I can't verify whose it is. If I'm in the city, I go over, let me see whose house is, where's it coming from? Let me, and then I can verify whether it's Jewish or not. I don't have to guess. I don't have to say what the odds are. But when do we have to come on to majority is when I cannot verify. I can't verify where the smell comes from. And I want to go ahead and what? Can I say the bracha? Or am I supposed? And I smell the smell. And the law is, if you smell the smell, you have benefit. You need to say bracha 7 days a week. So now, what do? I smell the smell. I can't verify if it's a source from Jewish or not. So what's the majority? That the city that the smells, if it's a Jewish neighborhood, is it Brooklyn, New York? Is it Ocean Parkway, Avenue S? Or is it Harlem? Where is this? Where are you coming from? What's the majority of the city? That's what the Gemara says. So like the fire. But the commentaries discuss by the fire we said that if it's 50-50, you would also say you were good. They discussed the question, what would be by Samim? But the Gemara is not clear. But would 50-50 be good or not? Or would there be a difference? Because maybe it's avodah zarah, then you cannot. No, if most people have
that's the main concern. Maybe you can assume that 50-50, but even if it is a goy, there's still a 50% chance that it was not avodah zarah.
So Nathan wants to say there's a good chance that it also wasn't for avodah zarah as well. So maybe that would tip the scale even when it's 50-50. If it's majority goyim, will be problem. That's a good logic. That's a good svara. That's some might say that. Exactly. That's one of the commentators say exactly what you said. That's the machloket of the Rishonim. Some say that logic. Yes.
If you're walking somewhere and the smell is just it's only
for sale purpose only.
I want to know. So
even though you want to,
someone walk there for him is like, I'm selling this stuff. I don't do brachot, but I want to buy the stuff and sell them. But I have an eye on the smell. Do I do a bracha on it or not?
So you're saying, but the psamim were made.
Like the case you said before.
It's okay if it's for sale purposes.
No, but the case you said before that if only for sale purposes and nothing else, we should not say bracha.
I should not say.
But if I walk in and I have an eye on
but something could have two purposes, right? So it's for sale purposes.
Can I make it like
the retail store, they display them in such a way that they are for sale purposes. The guy wants to sell them, but you smell them, and that's why you're buying it, because they smell fresh.
Right. So once you bought them, then at that point it's there for the purpose of enjoying the smell. Meaning, once I bought it, now no longer it's there just for sale purposes. Meaning, let's say it's a case the wholesaler, and no customers from the street. We don't allow customers from the street. Then I walk into the store. Then I will not say a bracha. But if they sell it to me, once they sell it to me, now the purpose of the psamim is no longer for sale purposes because it's already sold. At that point, it's now everyone has a good question. So if I go into a store and I want the smell,
but it's not the purpose.
But that's not the purpose. So based on our Gemara, the Gemara said so based on our Gemara, what would we say? Would we say that
If you not say-
since I am not, since the summum here is not for smell purposes, I want to smell it, but that's not what it's made for. Just like the fire. You see, if a guy says,
When you buy it, so you buy it like to cook, right? You buy it to smell, you buy it to cook with the flavor.
right, so let's say he's let's give an example. The psamim yaron, the psamim that's used for the dead body. I decide I want to smell those psamim, but the psamim are not made for those psamim are not. Those psamim are specifically made for the dead body. Now the fire that's made for the dead body. I want to use the light of that fire. That light is not made for illumination. So, we'll have to see the Shulchan Aruch. We'll see. Maybe tomorrow you remind me. We'll look to see if he discusses Yaron's case. Okay, but we'll want to wish everyone a great day. A great day, something to think about. Okay, have a great day, everybody.
Thank you, Al.
Thank you.